Roll Tide, everybody. It's time for the Bama Tailgate Show. And with Alphonse Taylor, I'm Mick Gillespie. Before we do anything else, I want to thank you guys for being here. Remind you that the show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And it's golf time, Dancing Rabbit Golf Course. Fantastic. It's the Augusta you can play. We're going to talk about the NFL Draft. Shedeur Sanders skipped over Jalen Milroe to the Seahawks. We're going to get into Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. If you haven't seen that yet, we'll talk about some guys that transferred to Alabama, and we'll do all that right after this. All right, Roll Tide, Shank, great to see you. Man, you and I have been kind of texting back and forth. I can't wait to hear your take on Shedeur being, thought of as a first-round pick, right, and then going all the way back to the 5th round to the Browns. I think the Browns might have ended up with a lucky break on this, but your thoughts on the whole thing? Do you think he should have been a first-round pick? Do you feel like there was any collusion? Do you think that maybe they were upset about something that Coach Prime might have said? And how would you let a guy that's that talented go back that far in the draft?
Man, I've been thinking on this one a bit. I haven't really said too much about it, but collusion, I'm really not into conspiracy theories. I'm not going to go that deep, But my thing is projected first rounder. You know what I'm saying? You have your thoughts, opinions about him, whatever you may say. But projected first rounder, top 5 guy, right? And slipping in the drafts happened. But from top 5 to 5th round pick, no scandals, no behavioral issues. Just people all of a sudden shocked by him being who he is. Like, he's consistently been the same kid all year. He's been doing the same thing all year. And it's just, I don't know, man. They want to say he's arrogant, say he has an ego, but it's the same thing he's been displaying all year, right? No different than any other quarterback that has any type of confidence in itself. But to slip to the 5th round, I don't really understand that. All right. You can say whatever about his talent. I think the kid's talented. I think he played good ball. Everybody's comparing him to Cam Ward. I ain't gonna lie, no clue why he was working out with Cam Ward. No clue why that was a thing. No clue why that was even production for him. And, maybe just in that instance, he gave him enough to just turn their nose away. I've been seeing a lot about him wanting to shoot a rap video on Cam Ward saying, "I play football."
That's interesting.
Yeah, but when has it been against the law for a professional athlete to have?
Well, didn't Dion had a rap video too legit
and that's my
right?
thing.
I like that one too.
Yeah, and that's my thing. We're talking about Deion Sanders' kid. It's like he's Deion Sanders all over, minus, being one of the greatest talents to potentially play. But I think he's talented in his own right. And he's entitled to have that confidence in himself. Now, could he have gone about his interviews better? I think so. He could have provided some better answers. And I don't really vibe with if you're not trying to change your franchise, don't pick me. And, all right, buddy, I get it. You won a few games at Colorado after they were a one-win team, but other than that, man, I see no issues with him. He's been carrying himself the same way all year.
Yeah. Well, part of it too is, I guess, and I didn't even think about it until you just said that, but I mean, it is a job interview when you go and talk to all these coaches and front offices and everything. I mean, I get that part of it. Maybe they didn't think that he was going to show up and maybe he'd be a distraction, but Deion Sanders was always a great teammate. And it's not like Deion Sanders, Coach Prime's program is known for having, people that don't play the game the right way or do things the right way. And his approach to the media is closer to Trump or Muhammad Ali than it is most people. But I mean, it's part of the reason why he gets so much coverage. I just never had the feel that Shedeur Sanders was going to be any kind of an issue other than being a great player. I think that people that were making those decisions must have thought differently of him, because the quarterback's the toughest position to get these days, and for the Browns to get this guy in the 5th round, he could be a franchise changer. They also have Dylan Gabriel. I met Dylan Gabriel at the Senior Bowl. I'm taller than him. And I don't know that that's going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm kind of scratching my head on the Browns picks anyway. Just you go Gabriel, then you go Shedeur in the 5th round. And I'm still trying to figure out how the guy from Louisville went in the 2nd round. But
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
like, I'll even argue Jalen Milroe over him.
Yeah.
Like, besides Shedeur, like, let's be honest here. I'll even go Jalen Milroe over him in that spot. And so no idea where that pick came from in the 2nd round, but I'm not a GM. I don't own a team. So
yeah, right. I'd love to own one. So what do you think of the Bama draft? You got Booker going to the Cowboys, like the 13th pick. The Eagles traded up to get Jahad Campbell right at the end of the 1st round. They made the 2nd to last pick, but that was a good move. They were just 1 pick back, but they really wanted him. And then Jalen Milroe and Robbie Oots going to the Seahawks as they try to rebuild their offense without Geno Smith. That seems like a pretty good destination for Milroe. Like, you're going to play probably, and if you figure it out, you're going to play pretty quick.
Absolutely, and I hope he does figure it out. I hope they give him a chance, and I hope he goes and thrives, man, because he is the type of dual threat quarterback that can hurt you. He's very athletic. Everybody knows about his speed. He can get downhill, and he can hurt you in the pass game, throwing deep. Now, can he improve on his intermediate and short game? Absolutely, but NFL is all about big plays these days, right? So let's get the ball downfield. You got guys to get it to. And so I'm excited for him. Man. I hope it works out for him in Seattle. But let's talk about Tyler Booker, though.
Yeah.
Going to the Cowboys. At 13 that's huge, because Cowboys been struggling. Everybody talking about Dak isn't protected. They went offensive line at 13. So Booker has a chance to become immediate impact as soon as he touches the field, because offensive line play is something that they've needed. Cowboys were riddled with injuries, tough season, absolutely. That, and so I'm hoping Booker can slide in there and have an impact right away. And moving on to Jahad Campbell. Eagles, defending Super Bowl champs. It's like, does it get any better than that? Not only being drafted high, but being drafted to the defending Super Bowl champs, and that
Yeah, pretty
defense,
cool.
and that defense is monstrous, absolutely monstrous. All the Georgia guys there. We got our Bama guys on offense, but I think he has a chance to go in and learn from some guys and become an impactful player himself early on. But Booker and Campbell are definitely, I'm impressed by those 2 picks. Good spots to land, a chance to have an early impact.
Yeah. It surprised some people, and I was just looking it up. I guess it was the 12th pick for the Cowboys, but Booker doesn't surprise us at all. And I want to hear your take on what you see when you watch him on the field. And then I want you to talk about 2 other guys that could be in that position coming up this year when the next draft comes, and that being Jalen Proctor and Jalen Roberts. Like, you're talking about 2 guys that a lot of people, the draft experts, feel like could be in a very similar spot next year. Roberts played hurt most of last season and was still pretty good, him being healthy. And then Proctor coming back to Alabama. He's been kind of known because of how talented he is, but is this the year that he turns it around? But when you see Booker, what are the things you really like about his play? And then how can those two guys have seasons where they end up in the first round?
Man, Booker is a physical guy, man. Real role grader. He gets his hands on you and he controls blocks well. And once he gets going downhill, it's hard to stop him. It's hard to stop him. I think he was pivotal in the run game. And I think he'll be able to translate that to the next level, man. And I think as far as Proctor and Jaden Roberts, man, they're coming into the NFL at the perfect time. Look at the Eagles' offensive line. That's the new mold. Look at those big guards they have. Landon Dickerson on the inside as well at center. Everybody's want to load up and go big now. We want to get the run game going again because it just won a Super Bowl, right? So I think they're entering the league at the perfect time. Perfect. They're bigger body guys, especially Proctor. And for Proctor, man, I just need to see more consistency out of him because we know he can do it. We just want to see him do it on a more consistent basis. And Jalen Roberts, man, just continue to stay healthy and continue to do what he's doing, and they have a great chance to be in that same spot next year.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, and that's when you look at the pre-draft, analysis, right? For way too early next time draft. Proctor and Roberts are two of the five guys that when you look at Alabama, that are the guys to keep an eye on early. And if your offensive line has two guys, and then don't forget about Parker Brailsford, your center, that's a foundation right there.
Absolutely. To have those guys coming back is big, man, because we got guys that played together. They've gotten reps. They've been in some tough games, so they've built that chemistry. And so it'll be a little easier to plug guys in when you have guys with that type of experience, So I'm looking for them to anchor that offensive line next year and come back even more dominant than we were this year.
One of the big topics that's going on right now at Alabama, and a lot of people getting into it, is that Kalen DeBoer was asked about comments made that, obviously off the record comments, or, that people there's no name that's really put with these, but that if Jalen Milroe would have come back, the entire offense would have transferred. And he kind of said, hey, the entire offense wouldn't have transferred. You can't even do that. I mean, it wouldn't even make any sense, because it's just that wouldn't have happened. But I'm sure some players might have transferred. I mean, they lost 6 guys in the wide receiver room. Have you ever been in a situation like that, or could you imagine a situation like that where maybe it's not that people don't like that particular player, but their style of game makes it difficult for that player to perform at their best, right? And then I mean, like, maybe they want somebody that's more of a traditional drop back passer as a wide receiver. Those guys always want the ball. They're always open. And then, and he's going to run the ball more. Maybe if you're a running back, you want those touches. Obviously, he's in the NFL, so it didn't come true. But I just thought it was interesting that DeBoer addressed it when he was asked about it, and basically just said that Milroe did a lot of things well, and basically could be a little bit better in the pocket, but seemed to be pretty positive to me. But he didn't dismiss the fact that guys were going to transfer.
First thing I'll say about that, man, is when stuff like that gets out, you notice it's always from anonymous sources or anonymous people. Nobody ever puts a name on it. Man, I'm so tired of stuff like that being leaked out and nobody wants to put a name on it, right? And you see it in the NFL as well. Well, this anonymous GM said this, or this anonymous owner said that. Man, it's just like, if this is how you truly feel, put a name to it. Stand behind it, right? Let's stop all this anonymous nonsense, because it's always negativity, right? But when it's time to say something positive, there's always a name on it. It's never anonymous when it's something positive, right? And so I just hate that, man, and I want that to stop altogether. But I mean, I'm surprised he even addressed it. I think that's where we are. got a little grace from Sabo not having social media, so he didn't know what the hell was going on, right? And
Yeah.
so um, I'm surprised he addressed it, but even still, if they're gonna transfer, they're gonna transfer. I mean, that's the new norm now. There's nothing to be rattled about. I mean, a couple years ago, I would have said something different, had a lot to say, but that's the nature of college football now. And so, if they would have transferred, that's fine, because at the end of the day, it's still the University of Alabama. People still want to come and play for the University of Alabama.
Yeah, and nobody transferred in the spring portal,
Yeah,
and he didn't
and
lose many coaches
big
either.
ups to them. Absolutely big ups to those guys for staying around, because it's not normal these days. It's not. And so definitely dope for them staying around. And I want to see them actually build and stick to that brotherhood they've been talking about. I want to see that because that's what college football needs. It's all about NIL, and we don't talk about the brotherhood and what really goes into this anymore. So I'm happy to see that.
Hopefully that continues at Alabama. Hanging out with Shank on the Bama Tailgate Show, brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Dancing Rabbit Golf Course is the Augusta that you can play. And it's an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours and change from Birmingham, and points around the state. All right, final thing on today's show. Boom, boom, boom. There he is. Bill Belichick and his very young, good-looking, sexy girlfriend. Okay, and I know you saw this, Shank. He was in an interview. I never thought the day would come where he would be basically disrupted by his girlfriend in an interview, but it happened. Okay, it basically CBS Sunday Morning. There's Bill, doing his thing, and his girlfriend kept interrupting, and basically she was like not telling him not to answer. It was very, very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. And I don't know if Bill, he might have been uncomfortable, but I don't know if he's going to say anything because he looks like he's doing all right.
No, I was super weird, man. Because damn, Bill, we talking about arguably one of the greatest NFL coaches of all time. Just like what is happening? I like
Oh, you
the
know what's
fact that
happening.
the fact that she was
You know what's
the fact
happening.
that she was like, yeah, we're not gonna answer that when asked where they met. I know what Bill was really doing with them old Patriots, man. Didn't Robert Kraft get you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not
Did
even
you?
gonna go
Hey,
there.
did you see the Tom Brady roast?
No, what?
Oh, you need to watch that on Comedy Central. I think it was Comedy Central. Maybe it was Netflix. It was amazing. Anyway, Bill took some heat in there.
Yeah, man. Like, what's going on, Bill? Man, he old enough to be that girl's dad twice. Man. that's, that's insane, man. But look, that ain't none of my business. I, I got my own family and kids to worry about. More power to him. I hope he live a full life.
Yeah. We were talking about the other thing. I meant to talk about this too, kind of along the lighter side of stuff. But Shedeur got trolled by the defensive coordinator of the Falcons' son, like on draft day. Like it was like that call that you're getting that wasn't the real call when he wasn't getting the call, right?
Yeah.
And I hate, man, I hate that. I mean, I really hate that. And I'm not laughing about it like I'm glad that it happened. I'm just like, it's just so crazy. The whole thing was crazy. It was made for TV drama out there in Green Bay. The NFL draft has turned into a big event. It's a huge sporting event, and then you get crazy stuff like that.
Man, that's insane, man. Because you work your whole life to get to that point. No matter who the person may be, you work your whole life to get to that point. The NFL isn't something that anybody can do. Man, I know he was already having a tough time, man, and just to get that call, it was just kind of like getting kicked while you down, right? He was already down, and some people might see it as just a prank, but I feel like those people have never worked to obtain anything in their life, honestly,
Right.
because a lot goes into this game. It's not something that anybody can do. And the NFL is extremely tough to get to. And so the fact that he was just waiting on his moment and it was just kind of dimmed a little bit by that stupid decision by what people want to call a kid, but 21 years old, you should have some type of decorum by now, dog. You're like, but we should know better. There's no excuse for that. But whatever the case may be, you just do better. Be a better person.
I'm pulling for Shedeur, even though I'm a
Absolutely.
Ravens fan. I hope he does well, and I think that he'll end up having a really good career. Sometimes these things are such a motivator for you in life, but I never like to see someone struggle in a moment like that in front of everybody, and I don't get joy from that. You could feel the disappointment and and the heartbreak there, and then watching Coach Prime, who was excited about him when he did get drafted, and see what happens. But the guy had a great college career, and I easily could have been a first-round pick. I think one lesson, though, is it is a job interview. You got to treat it that way.
It is. It is.
And that goes with anything in life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hope the guy does really well moving forward.
Absolutely, man. Just to add on to that, there's always a time and place. Always a time and place. You got to know how to play the game. And so I definitely wish him the best, but I'm really rooting for Jalen Milroe and all our guys that got drafted, honestly, because I won't be keeping up with Shedeur, I ain't gonna lie. I just want to see our guys do good. I want to see Jalen do well, Booker, Campbell, all the other guys. Man, because like I said, it's tough to make it to that level. You got that opportunity, so I just want to see them make the most of it. Man, that's all I got, man. Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide, guys. Show's brought to you by newlifeart.com. Promo code's Bama Tailgate. 20% off when you use that code on your next annual More print. I meant to bring one here with me, and I forgot it, but I'm going to put one right here and try to make my home a little more livable while I'm away from my home. So, but you got, whether you got an office or a house, we need one for Shank, for his spot in there too.
I'm going to get a bunch of stuff put up here soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, I can't wait. And that's, how it is at my house. I mean, I got my studio. It just feels a little naked in here right now without a Daniel Moore or two. But check out that code. When you get in there, it'll say, where'd you hear it? Bama Tailgate, and then newlifeart.com. And then finally, we appreciate the guys at Pearl River so much for supporting the channel. And again, Dancing Rabbit Golf Course is the Augusta that you can play. We'll get back together again later this week. Great to see you, Shank. Roll Tide.
Great to see you as well. Roll Tide.
Escape to Pearl River Resort.